Hi, good afternoon everyone. How's everyone doing? Okay, so my name is Ashim. I am a musician, percussionist, handpan artist, or tongue drummer if you like calling me that, by profession. I also have been working for the last 3.5, 4 years almost with this organization called Swechha. We work on different environmental issues, largely environment and education. I work with a lot of schools across Delhi. In fact, this year we're working with almost 100 schools. But more on that later. Before that, I want to actually run through these images with you. So if you can have the first image on the screen, which is an image from October 2015, which is about almost 4 years back. This is taken in a Barsati in Kalkaji extension on the 5th floor. The name of the apartment, as we call it today, is 135, which is actually my friend there, Vedant. This is his place. And for the last 5 years, this place has actually been a home away from home for me, and a place of refuge where I actually come on nights, on days when I'm really not doing well, and we actually come and record music. This was taken in October 2015. I remember the night very clearly because we had just been rejected by a bunch of studios and by a bunch of recording labels and a bunch of people who we had written to, venues, other artists to collaborate, and they said, as in no real reason, but just that we don't want to take this further, we don't want to record. And the idea for us was to go and actually record music on our own, going into a studio and doing it, getting some studio producer, music label to actually go and produce. And we thought that that's how it would work, but it wasn't working out. And that's when we sat together and we said, hey, we want to put our music out. It doesn't matter where we go and do it. Why don't we actually sit in this space where it was all born, where it was all created, take out a laptop, put on GarageBand, take your guitar, take my cajon, sit down, spend the next hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, work on something, and just put it out. So that was step one, to actually create the music on your own, sitting on a laptop, producing, recording, re-recording, doing everything on your own, without any other intervention from anybody else as such. And then after that, the question was, now what do we do? Okay, we have these 4 tracks out there, what do we do after that? So we decided that we were not going to email it to anyone or send it out further. The idea was that we actually just put it out on SoundCloud, say, hey, we have an EP here, and it's open to anyone and everyone to listen and share and spread. So no costing involved, no buy our music from here, buy our music from this platform or that platform. Put it on YouTube, put it on SoundCloud, 2 places where everyone has access, everyone can share, reshare, use for different things. So it's an open source for anyone to really use. And the point was, to do that was really to create something very personal for us and open it out to the world and say, hey, you guys can even take this forward and we can then look at maybe collaborating or doing things together. And that's where this idea sort of stemmed into me. I drifted away from this project of working with a lot of people and trying to collaborate. So things picked up, started doing a lot of shows in Delhi, in Bombay, Bangalore. And that's when the focus of mine in midway 2016, more in 2017, focused more towards what you see now on the screen, which reads Kalkaji to Khirki, the first draft. This is an album that is very personal to me because this is something that I started working on in my own little space with instruments that I'm going to introduce you to very shortly. And the idea behind this was a more personal journey of my way of incorporating storytelling, music, theater, dance, different things that I want to explore with my music, bringing people together and trying to create that connect, really. So the why for me in this entire thing was more important than the how. I had the skill to take this forward, to use my music, go to shows, go to different venues and perform. But for me, there was a sense of, while doing all these shows in venues, it was more about, okay, collect your paycheck, go back, do another show, do another show, do another show, do another show. That sense of satisfaction was sort of reducing day after day after day. And that's when I closed myself off, moved away from everyone else who I was collaborating with, and worked on something that I felt was more personal to me, which is where Kalkaji to Khirki came in to existence. And from there, the idea was to lock yourself up in a room, work together, hours and hours together, again using the tool of working on your own, using your own laptop, the first few tracks on this album I actually recorded on a handycam, so they don't have any form of professional recording as such. And I just put it out there again. And from there stemmed the reaction where a lot of different things came in. This is actually another interesting picture that I'll get to in a bit. But Kalkaji to Khirki as a concept was essentially, it was a composition that was born out of a journey of mine from 2 homes. Kalkaji, where The Barsati was where we actually used to work and make music at night, and Khirki is where my office is based, where I spend my daytime working on different themes of environment, working with students. Our office is actually based in Khirki. So it was stemmed from an auto journey that I took from Kalkaji to Khirki. That's where the entire composition was born, and from there, multiple compositions, about 4 to 5 different compositions that came in together over a year. And just last year, in fact, is when I launched that album. And the idea was to really pitch in something that was very personal to me, putting it out there, letting everyone be a part of it, and simultaneously doing shows where it's not just about doing the show, going back and finishing it off, more trying to create a connect with my audience. So I do a lot of different activities, one of which I'll be doing with you all very shortly. This is another very interesting example of how my music, in January 2019, just about 8 months back, I was invited to write a piece. So someone who came to one of my shows said that you speak very well, and I like the way you incorporate storytelling into your music. We actually work, so this is an organization called Khirki Voice, and they are based out of Khirki where my office is, and they are very, very interested in exploring people who work out of Khirki and do what are the different kinds of things they're doing, what is this community space all about. So they actually approached me and said that, why don't you write a piece about your connection between these two spaces? You have a music. In fact, the other editor who was there, who approached me initially, actually heard some of my music online and came and approached me and said, I really like what this concept is, but I don't know, I want to explore it more. I want to know exactly what this journey of yours has been about. So why don't you write about it and let more people know? Because it has Khirki in it, it has Kalkaji. She was also living in Kalkaji. Her workplace is also in Khirki, so she wanted to draw that connection. And that's where this article sort of happened. I didn't think I could write. I was facing a similar dilemma again when I was told to write this article, because I've never written anything before. I've never really written something and actually published it before. This is my first published piece of work that came out. And I was scared again, like I was today, before coming up here and talking to you all, because I didn't know what to write about. And that's again where the sense of why was I given this job to sit and write this. Somebody connected on some level with that music, wanted to explore the idea of doing something more. That's why she approached me and said, can you write something about that? So I kept on thinking about, how do I write? How do I put this down from pen to paper or from my head into an article? And like that how kept on bothering me. And I wasn't thinking about the why. Why has she called me to write this particular piece? And why is it? The more important reason behind that why is that she actually heard this music and she felt a connection in some way, and that's why she wanted to explore this possibility of collaborating more. And that's happened a lot of times with my music wherever I've gone to different venues. A lot of people have actually come. So I've worked with theatre professionals, I worked with a couple of dancers over the years, and the idea is to explore more and more forms of art with my music. Some places that I never thought I'd really explore before. As in I've worked with 2 Odissi dancers in the last year that I thought I would never ever be doing in my life. And the only reason that happened is because somewhere down the line, one of them came for a show, they saw what they liked what they saw, and they actually decided to take this further. And I said, why not? Why don't we take this further? Why don't we look at doing something? So that's how this has been happening. I'm coming to the other aspect of my life before I actually introduce you to my family behind me. This is an image that was taken last year in November. I was traveling with a group of students. Every year we take students on a village exposure trip as part of one of the programs we run with several schools. So this is one of the schools from Delhi that we took a group of about 80 students to travel with us inside rural Rajasthan, actually in the hamlet of the Aravlis. There's this place called Bodhgaon, which is run by an organization called Bodh Shiksha Samiti, and they work on grassroots education across different rural areas in Rajasthan. This is a night, the last night we spent together by the bonfire, all of them together, and singing and dancing. It was a wonderful experience. Both these pictures, actually, even the next slide if you see. So this talks more about the work I do at Swecha with students, what I've been doing for the last 3 years, morning to evening, 9:30 to 6 o'clock almost. Nowadays it's more in the school calendar. So we work 7 o'clock in the morning at a school, 11 o'clock at another school, 2 o'clock at a final school, and then by 4 o'clock we're just ready to pass out, as any teacher would be. So these are all examples of, when I do sessions with students, for example, whenever I start, the first thing I say is, there is no right or wrong answer. You can raise your hand, ask any question that you want. in this classroom, there's absolutely nothing that's right or wrong. So there's no judgment, there's nothing that's right or wrong. Whatever question, whatever query you have, raise your hand and we'll talk about it. And most of the work that we do has a huge amount of importance is given to questioning. Questioning, for example, if we're talking about, if we're studying about water, even with a grade 6 student or a grade 12 student, it's the same thing. Question where your water actually comes from. Does it come from an aquaguard or does it come from River Yamuna? Similarly, question why is your air so bad? Questioning why we are losing forest cover. What is the reason behind it? So questioning different things in your daily life that are affecting your larger environmental situation around you, and why is it happening and what can actually be changed about it. So the first part of intervention with schools and students is that idea of questioning everything and questioning why is this happening and what can we do later stage, how and what can we do at a later stage to actually improve the situation. What I'm going to do now is, I know there's been a lot of talking, so I want to switch gears and introduce you to a friend of mine. So wherever I go, I carry with me a set of family members who travel with me. Today I was not able to I was actually at a school in the morning, so I couldn't carry too many things with me, but I did carry two of my friends who have been with me for the last, let's say, almost 3 years now. A couple of slides back, which is the image of Bodhgaon and the students around the fire. So that was when this composition was actually conceptualized. It's called Bodhgaon Bulai, and it's basically an ode to that space and that area of refuge for 3 nights, 4 days that I get to take every year with a group of students and explore a different part of this country. So, this is called Bodhgaon Bulai, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much. So Meera actually gets her name from this concert I did it was a beautiful concert. It was under this tree in Vasant Kunj a couple of years back in 2017, I think, November, December time, 2016, November. I was playing under this beautiful banyan tree with another friend of mine, and right after the show, this gentleman comes up to me, and he had a 6-month-old baby on his shoulder, and he said, I brought her here thinking that there'll be a rock show that's going to happen, and she'll hang around, there'll be too much noise, she'll get irritated after a while, she'll just fall off to sleep. Because the thing is, you see her on my shoulder, for the last 6 months, she's been driving both me and my wife absolutely crazy. She's not been letting us sleep, we've been getting late to work every day, and it's been a nightmare for us. But today, I came thinking there'd be a rock show that would happen, because that's my understanding of when a show is happening, there'd probably be a rock concert or something in the park. But your music was so soulful that within the first 5 minutes she was fast asleep, and that means that we'd probably get to sleep well as well. So thank you for that. And I just found it very touching. And the last thing he said to me, which struck with me the most, was that this was her first concert. So when she grows up and she's 18, 19 years old, and she's telling her classmates about, or her college mates about the first concert she ever went to, she'd say, I went and saw this man sitting with a patila or a pan on his lap, playing under a tree, and I fell off to sleep in the first 5 minutes. So it was funny. And then he said, by the way, her name is Meera, and he told me her name. So I said, I haven't named this instrument as yet, but I would like to call her Meera if that's okay with you. And he agreed. So ever since then, that's how Meera was actually born for me as well. And it was pretty great for me to know that when Meera turns 18, 19, she's going to tell her friends that she saw this happen as her first concert, and I was the musician involved in that. So it's great these are all different stories that have shaped my music and my little family that you see around me over the years. This is Meera. Behind me there's another instrument which is called a handpan. I'll introduce you to, he's also called Bery, named after my grandfather, so I'll introduce you to him right at the end. But before that, we just go to the next slide. yeah, so now the most important thing, one hand I have this 9 to 6 job where I'm teaching students and planting trees and trying to run an organization with a team, and yeah, it's great fun. A lot of challenges involved. But at the same time, I'm also a musician. So post 7, 8 o'clock, I actually go to this Barsati in Kalkaji or to my own Barsati in CR Park or wherever it is, and I sit and record music, and occasionally I perform to a group of people like you all. Now the idea is to actually fuse the two together, and that's where now I've actually, this image right here is taken about a month back when I decided to. I don't know if you all have heard of this thing called forest bathing. Basically, it's Shinrin Yoku it's this Japanese technique which talks about immersing yourself into the forest. So it's done with a very restricted number of people, roughly 20 people. And the idea is that they come and they do a bunch of activities where they immerse themselves completely with nature, connect directly with nature. So I collaborated with a dear friend of mine a couple of months back, and I used my music as a part of this entire activity where, again, a group of 25 people got together. We did some activities which focus on listening to the forest, listening to sounds of the forest, listening to the sounds that I was creating, and sort of creating that immersive experience in the forest. So that's where I, for the first time, was able to draw linkages between what I'm doing from 9 to 6 with regards to environment, with regards to forest, with regards to nature and education, and fusing that with another love of mine, which is music, and connecting it with people who come for these experiences, and actually getting a lot of positive feedback where people are saying that, it was a meditative experience. It was something very much required for me on a Sunday at the end of a long week. There was too much stress for me, and this helped me. So it does make you feel very, very, I don't know what the exact word is, but in a way satisfied, in a way happy with what you're doing and the why behind it. That this was my objective. My objective was not only to fuse two loves of mine together, but to somehow draw that connect with the participants that are part of a workshop like this, or participants who are part of end with just a small piece that I play on Wade. And very simply, what you guys have to do. So when I carry this to school, when I play for a group of students, they refer to me as Captain America, the shield. It's a great feeling though, unless you're an Iron Man fan or whatever. So yeah, this one is called On the Road, and it's very simple. What you all have to do, you just have to clap along. So I'll give you the rhythm. Just follow it and play. Yeah.